Look inside a clock, a hand drill, an electric gate or a guitar, and you will find gears doing completely different jobs. But here is the challenge: could you look at those gears and immediately identify what type they are, and explain what they do? Welcome to the next lesson in our Gear Systems series. In this lesson, we focus on the 4 important types of gears you need to recognize: Spur Gears, Bevel Gears, Rack-and-pinion gears, and Worm gears. You will learn how each one looks, how it works, what type of movement it produces, and where it is used in real machines. At Magfar Online, we make difficult concepts easier through clear explanations, real-life examples, and exam-focused revision. Subscribe so that you do not miss our weekly uploads. Stay to the end for revision questions, and use the link in the description to download your lesson notes. This is Magfar Online, where learning never stops. Different machines need gears to perform different jobs. For this reason, gears are made in different shapes and sizes, and they can have different numbers of teeth. These differences allow gear systems to control speed, direction, and turning force. There are 4 important types of gears that you need to recognize. They are Spur Gears, Bevel Gears, Rack-and-pinion gears, and Worm gears. The first type is the Spur Gear. A spur gear is a round gear with teeth around its outside edge. The teeth are straight and are aligned parallel to the axle on which the gear turns. Spur gears are one of the most common types of gears used in machines. When 2 spur gears mesh, the teeth of one gear push against the teeth of the other gear. This transfers rotary movement from one gear to the other. Spur gears can be used to control both the speed of movement and the turning force of a machine. Spur gears are found in many machines and devices, including clocks, electric screwdrivers, conveyor systems, washing machines, egg beaters, aircraft engines, and industrial machinery. They are also used in some vehicle transmission mechanisms. For example, spur gears can be found in the reverse gear mechanism of a manual vehicle. Spur gears are relatively simple to manufacture. They are commonly described as cost-effective, durable, and reliable. There is another very important feature of spur gears. When 2 external spur gears mesh directly with each other, they turn in opposite directions. This is called counter-rotation. For example, if the driver gear turns clockwise, the driven gear will turn anti-clockwise. If the driver turns anti-clockwise, the driven gear turns clockwise. So remember, 2 meshing spur gears rotate in opposite directions. The second type of gear is the bevel gear. A bevel gear is different from a spur gear because the part containing its teeth is shaped somewhat like a cone. Bevel gears are normally used when we need to change the direction of rotary movement. 2 bevel gears can be arranged so that rotation is transferred from one axle to another axle positioned at an angle. A very common arrangement changes the axis of rotation through 90 degrees. Imagine one shaft turning horizontally. A pair of bevel gears can transfer that rotary movement to another shaft that turns vertically. So bevel gears allow rotary motion to turn a corner. In a bevel gear system, the smaller gear may be called the pinion gear. Bevel gears are used in mechanisms such as watches, dentists' drills, and some electric machines and equipment. A manual hand drill is another useful example of a geared mechanism in which turning the handle causes gears to transfer rotation to the drill bit. When you turn the crank handle, you rotate a large bevel gear. This large bevel gear acts as the driver gear. Its teeth mesh with a smaller bevel gear. The smaller bevel gear is the driven gear. Because the 2 gear axes are positioned at right angles, the movement of your hand is redirected through 90 degrees. The driven gear then rotates the shaft connected to the drill bit. So the mechanism does more than simply transfer movement. It changes the direction of the rotary movement. The third gear system is called a rack-and-pinion. This system looks very different from two ordinary round gears. It consists of two main parts. The first part is the pinion. The pinion is a normal round spur gear. The second part is the rack. The rack is a straight, flat strip containing gear teeth. The teeth of the pinion mesh with the teeth of the rack. When the pinion rotates, it causes the rack to move in a straight line. This means that a rack and pinion system changes rotary motion into linear motion. Rotary motion means movement in a circle. Linear motion means movement along a straight line. So remember, rack and pinion changes rotary movement into linear movement. Depending on the design of the machine, either the rack or the pinion can be fixed while the other part is allowed to move. Rack and pinion systems are used in car steering mechanisms, train wheel systems, and milling machines. A rack and pinion is therefore very useful when a rotating movement needs to produce movement in a straight line. There are different ways to arrange a rack and pinion. In one arrangement, the pinion stays in a fixed position and rotates while the rack moves backwards or forwards. This type of arrangement is used in steering mechanisms in many cars. When the steering system rotates the pinion, the rack moves from side to side and helps turn the vehicle's wheels. Another example is an electric sliding gate. A rotating gear can engage with a straight-toothed rack attached to the gate. As the gear rotates, the gate moves in a straight line. Another arrangement is possible. The rack can remain fixed while the rotating pinion moves along the rack. The principle remains the same: rotary and linear motion are being connected. Rack and pinion arrangements are also found in equipment such as some milling machines and drill mechanisms. The most important visual clue is: if you see a round gear meshing with a straight-toothed bar, you are looking at a rack and pinion system. The fourth type is the worm gear system. A worm gear looks very different from the other gears we have studied. One part of the system is called the worm shaft. The worm shaft has a continuous groove around it, shaped like a screw thread. The worm shaft meshes with another toothed wheel. This gear is commonly called the worm wheel. As the worm shaft turns, its screw-like thread pushes against the teeth of the worm wheel and causes the worm wheel to rotate. Worm gear systems are useful where controlled rotary movement is required. Worm gear systems can be found in the tuning heads of musical instruments such as guitars, in the winding mechanisms of watches, in corkscrews, and in some toys. So remember, a worm gear system consists of a worm shaft and a worm wheel, and it can provide a strong turning force. Before we move on, here is one related arrangement you may sometimes see. You may also encounter a rack and worm system. This is different from an ordinary worm and worm wheel. Here, the screw-like worm meshes with a straight-toothed rack. When the worm rotates, the rack moves in a straight line. So a rack and worm arrangement changes rotary motion into linear motion. One example is an adjustable or shifting spanner. Turning the worm adjusts the position of the movable jaw, making the opening wider or narrower. For each turn of the worm, the rack moves by a controlled amount. This provides accurate adjustment. This idea is also seen in some pipe wrench mechanisms. Do not confuse this with a normal worm and wheel system. A worm and wheel system has a round wheel. A rack and worm system has a straight-toothed rack. We have now looked at the four main types of gears. But what happens when we start combining gears in different ways? For example, what if we place an extra gear between two gears? These arrangements can change how a gear system behaves. Let us look at two important examples, idler gears and compound gears. A third gear may be placed between a driver gear and a driven gear. This middle gear is called an idler gear. The idler gear meshes with both the driver gear and the driven gear. Its main purpose is to affect the direction of rotation between the input and output gears. With an idler gear between the driver and driven gears, the driver and driven gears rotate in the same direction. This is called synchronized rotation because the input and output gears turn together in the same rotational direction. Another gear arrangement that you may sometimes encounter is a compound gear system. Compound gears consist of two or more gears fixed to the same shaft. Because the gears are attached to the same shaft, they rotate together whenever the shaft turns. Compound gear systems are useful when several stages of gearing need to be combined in one mechanism. They can be used to produce larger changes in the final output of a gear system, but we will not calculate these changes in this introductory lesson. For now, remember the main identifying feature. Compound gears are two or more gears fixed to the same shaft, so they rotate together. Before you go, here's the challenge. Two spur gears are meshing. One is large. The other is small. Now tell me, which one turns faster, which one gives more turning force, and what happens to their direction of rotation? In the next lesson, we are taking spur gears to the next level. We'll investigate unequal gear sizes, counter-rotation, velocity ratio, velocity and force ratio, idler gears, and the best materials for idler gears. By the end, you won't just recognize a gear system, you'll be able to explain exactly what it is doing. So think about that question, and meet me in the next lesson. This is Magfar Online, where learning never stops. Stay curious, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next video.